Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would like to welcome you all for His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj's daily online class. Thank you all for joining. My humble obeisances to you, Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you all. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, we will be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter. We're going to start chapter 18 today, first verse.
How many devotees do we have online today? We only 4, 8, 12.
We have got 16, Maharaj.
4, 8, 12, 16, right? Including you. I was thinking of a particular verse. Now we're up to 17. Okay, let's continue. Let's do verse number 1.
Okay, Maharaj. Just a moment.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Yovadrunyastra Viplustoho Namatur Udare Ritaha Anugrahad Bhagavata Krishnaya Bhuta Karmanaha. Sutta Goswami said, due to the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna acts wonderfully. Maharaj Parikshit, though struck by the weapon of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burned. The sages of Naimisharanya became struck with wonder after hearing about the wonderful administration of Maharaj Parikshit, especially in reference to his punishing the personality of Godhead and making him completely unable to do any harm within the kingdom. Sutta Goswami was equally anxious to describe Maharaj Parikshit's wonderful birth and death, and this verse is stated by Sutta Goswami to increase the interest of the sages of Naimisharanya. So next verse. Brahma kopatitharyastu taksakat pranavipalat nasumumoro rubayad bhagavatayarpitasya saha. Furthermore, Maharaj Parikshit was always consciously surrendered to the personality of Godhead, and therefore he was never afraid nor overwhelmed by fear due to a snake bird, which was to bite him because of the fury of a Brahmana boy. Purport: a self-surrendered devotee of the Lord is called Narayana Parayana. Such a person is never afraid of any place or person, not even of death. For him, nothing is as important as the Supreme Lord, and thus he gives equal importance to heaven and hell. He knows well that both heaven and hell are creations of the Lord, and similarly, life and death are different conditions of existence created by the Lord. But in all conditions and in all circumstances, remembrance of Narayan is essential. The Narayana Parayan practices this constantly. Maharaj Parikshit was such a pure devotee. He was wrongly cursed by an inexperienced son of a Brahmana who was under the influence of Kali, and Maharaj Parikshit took this to be the sent by Narayan. He knew that Narayan, Lord Krishna, had saved him when he was burned in the womb of his mother, and if he were to be killed by a snake bird, it would also take place by the will of the Lord. The devotee never goes against the will of the Lord. Anything sent by God is a blessing for the devotee. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was neither afraid nor bewildered by such things. This is a sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Omigyantimirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes, fear controls the material world. Fear is that element that is very much prominent in everyone's life, even those who are practicing devotional service. But of course, when it comes to one who is purified, then they're fearless. There's no fear. Because they know, as it's explained here nicely in this particular purport, that nothing happens without the will of the Lord. And if the will of the Lord puts the devotee in a difficult situation, he accepts that as the will of the Lord and not simply a circumstance that came about by chance. For a devotee, he's always under the Daivi Prakriti, or spiritual energy. The Apara Prakriti, or the Para Prakriti, the Apara Prakriti is the material energy, where fear is very much prominent in the lives of everyone. Even in the smallest interactions in life, fear has an element of influence. Someone is going to get a job and they think, I have to get this job because I need some finances in my life. And they're fearful that I might not get it. Or they may be fearful that I have to take a test and I might not be able to pass the test, therefore I won't get the job. So there's an element of fear there and some anxiety, because whenever there's fear, there is anxiety. That's why this world is what we say characterized by anxiety, because anxiety accompanies fear. And people are always in anxiety about what they want and whether they're going to get it. Even if they get it, will they lose it? Even if they get it, will they be able to benefit from it? Or if they have something, their anxiety about losing it. Who will take it away? When will it be taken away? Maybe if I do all of these things, then I can protect myself. So, there's so much anxiety in this world. You see, one of the biggest businesses in the world is security. Security is everywhere. You have so many secure agencies, and then you have armies, you have police, you have so many forms of so-called protectors of the common people. I use the word so-called because they can't really give protection. But some people believe that they can, so they take faith in that, but they don't know. Rake Krishna More Krishna Rake Ke. There's no one that can protect anyone if Krishna doesn't want that person to get protection. And if that person if Krishna wants to give him protection, there's no power within existence that could do anything contrary. Because Krishna is the supreme power within existence. For his devotee, he's always there. He was there at the time of Maharaj Parikshit when he was In the womb, when Asvatthama wanted to kill the last descendant of the Pandava dynasty, he threw his Brahmastra weapon without even understanding how to use it properly. But he was able to aim it where he wanted to, and entered into the womb. The Brahmastra weapon, although it's a powerful weapon, it can be directed by those who know how to use it to a particular target, even the smallest of targets. And they don't have any such. They have these big nuclear weapons or these big atomic bombs, but they can't control them and they can't direct them, and they don't know what the outcome is, what happens when they use them. Because it's all material. This Brahmastra, well, of course, Brahmastra is also material, but it's a subtle form of material energy that works by mantra. And mantra is power. That's why when we say you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you become powerful. When Prabhupada was asked, how do you feel when you chant? Prabhupada said, I feel powerful. I feel fearless. So yeah, mantra is very powerful, especially pure mantra, such as the Hare Krishna mantra. But all mantras have effect on some levels. And so when Krishna realized that the last heir to the Pandava dynasty was about to be destroyed, he personally appeared in the womb, and actually the child had already been killed. That's mentioned in that particular narration, that he just died, but Krishna was there and brought him back to life. That's how you might say Krishna was a little late in getting there, or he can't really explain the sequence, but we can understand that it mentions that actually Krishna saved him by bringing him back to life within the womb. And then he saw that personality who was there, and he didn't recognize who it was. And therefore, he was given the name Parikshit, which means examiner. That's the actual meaning. He was examining everyone he saw in life to see if that any person that he was examining was that same person he saw within the womb. He never forgot that image that he saw, and he was still an unborn baby. So here's another point of importance, that there's consciousness even within the womb. The modern scientists and so-called medical officers have no understanding of life, and they give all kinds of definitions based on speculation about when life actually appears. They say when life appears when the child is delivered, or some say life appears in the 7th month, and others say that life starts soon as there is what we say, how is it said? As soon as there is consummation of the womb by the semen of the father, immediately life begins. Consciousness actually comes to full blown. That's the 7th month. That's actually understood. That's why in Vedic culture, those of you who are attuned to Vedic culture, especially about birth, they know that on the 7th month, there is a particular ceremony that's performed. And it's an auspicious ceremony to give the child some special blessings at that time. But that is the time when the child actually attains full consciousness. And then, of course, within 2 months, he appears outside of the womb. So Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Lord. And now there's another situation where Maharaj Parikshit was now cursed in an unfair way by, as it says here, by the fury of a Brahmin boy. He was a child, 12 years old. He wanted to show off And he had some anger against Maharaj Pariksit but Maharaj Pariksit didn't deserve to be cursed the way he was for that apparent transgression, which was not even a transgression. But Maharaj Pariksit saw as an opportunity to focus fully. And so after ruling the world for so many hundreds of years, he decided it was time now to go back home, back to Godhead. And he had so much. He had perfect family. He had undisputed kingdom. He had wealth. He had followers. Everything was there perfectly. But still, he thought the most important thing is Ananta, what is that? Ananta Smriti. Remembering the Supreme Personality at the time of death. And that is the purpose of life. Life is to prepare one for the time of death. People think life means to live and do all kinds of things in this world, but the actual purpose of life is to prepare oneself for that time when death comes, that one can remember the Lord. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam taktva antre kalevaram tam tam ivaiti konteya tata bhava bhavitaha. Yeah, Krishna says, well, whoever you remember, or whatever you remember at the time of death, that's where you go. So if you remember him, you go to him. If you remember your wife, your children, your money, your body, your position in the world, then you're back again to try again in another material birth, to go through the whole process again. So the whole process is, and Maharaj Pariksit understood, here's a chance. So he decided to go to the banks of the river. Some people say Ganga, some people say Jamuna, but it's actually the Jamuna. But the Ganga is also mentioned in the scriptures. He went and he sat down and he fasted. And because he was such a powerful king, the ruler of the world, and now he's giving up his life to fast until death, he attracted the attention of great sages and saints all over the universe. And hundreds of sages and saints came to meet this person at the time of death. And they came from so many places. But then, when they were all there, one personality appeared, and that was Sukadeva Goswami. And everyone understood that he is the most qualified person. So they all stood up in honor of the parents of Sukadeva. Sukadeva was only 16 years old, the son of Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedas. And he sat on the seat of honor, and everyone just sat and listened to the discourse that was given not only to Maharaj Pariksit, specifically to him, but to all of these other sages and saints. They also all attended that narration of the Bhagavatam by Sukadeva Goswami. So he used his last moment in life. It's not like, oh, I'm going to die. Let me try this specialist, that specialist, this doctor. Yes, I have to travel halfway around the world to meet this specialist. The devotees don't make a big effort. They might make a little effort to see if there's some remedial measures that are available. But they don't go around the world looking all over the place, because they know that the time of death comes for everyone. The point is, to everyone, the time of death is always too soon. No matter when you're going to die, it's always too soon. That's the way the kind of conditioned soul thinks. It's always too soon. Everyone knows they're going to die. That's a fact. or they're going to leave the body. Of course, no one dies because the soul is eternal. Therefore, the soul will carry on. But the idea of death means the end of the body, and the attachment to the body causes one to think, wow, it's coming, and it shouldn't come. So the devotee knows it could come anytime. It could come anytime. And so therefore, why waste time in this material world? The illusion is, well, I'm young and I got my whole life in front of me and I have so many plans. But trust no plan, no matter how apparently good it looks. Prahlad Maharaj gave the understanding when he was preaching to his classmates, and he was talking to them about the importance of taking up devotion to the Lord. And they all said, Prahlad, Prahlad, we're still children, we're still young. We want to play, but when we get old, then we'll do all of those things you're telling us to do now. And Prahlad listened, but then he responded by saying, yes, old. What does old mean? Old means just before you die. And that's the actual definition of old. Who's old and who's young? That's another question. Is a person old by age or is a person old by time? So, of course, they go together in one sense, but in ultimate, no one knows where they're going to die. Children are dying every day in different parts of the world. And these are children that have been living for a few years or maybe more. But death can come at any time. That's when Prahlad Maharaj responded, old means just before you die, and no one knows when. So prepare now. Prepare now, and that means become serious in devotional service now. The idea that I can postpone my spiritual life because of my conception of how long I'm going to live is an illusion, especially in today's age where the acceleration of the ways that people can die is increasing more and more. There's so many diseases now and so many calamities on different levels. There's dangerous places all over the world. There's crime in practically every major city, every major city. So death is everywhere around. We can see it. We know people who are dying every day, or at least we know people who die. Some people we know that were very close to us are no longer with us anymore. And so a devotee thinks, well, yeah, why waste time? Let me become fully Krishna conscious now, and then when I become a fully Krishna conscious devotee, then it says that when one is fully in Krishna conscious, then death is like leaving one room and going into another. It's that easy. Or it becomes like Prabhupada says, it's like going to sleep and waking up. When you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, you're in a, but when this waking up is you're in a different place now. So for a devotee, death is not a horrible situation. It's just a change of location. And in most cases, it's a better location. So the attachments that come, for those who are really interested in learning what is the mindset that a devotee should have before leaving the body, I recommend one particular book. It's by Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. It's called Beggar Number 4, where he's on the verge of leaving the body, and he presents many types of mindsets that people go through before they're leaving the world, and he deals with them in a Krishna conscious solution, and he understands them in that way. Because it's not so much that death is fearful, it's the attachments we have to the material world that make death fearful. And so when we don't have any attachments, then there's no fear. That no fear means to be attached to Krishna exclusively. Krishna, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pram. Krishna is everything. And to come to that level of consciousness and to surrender is the process of bhakti. And therefore, one has to take up bhakti regularly and be free from all of the anxieties. Yeah, it's called Die Before Dying. That's the name of the book. Die before dying. What he means is die to those things that keep you from dying. Yes. Because dying is good, but to die is not good. So dying means moving on to a higher realm of existence. And there are people, sometimes people think, well, what evidence do we have? But there are now many, many things, even on the secular level, where people have written books that they have died, but they weren't ready to die, or wasn't their time. So they came back by the arrangement of higher powers and then re-entered their body again. And this happens to ladies who have very calamitous experiences during childbirth. One of the highest forms of death, at least in the United States, is women dying at childbirth. It's not a very easy, for the men who can't understand this, but women have some understanding. It's not a very easy, we might use the word very simply, but it's not a very easy thing to deliver a child. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of support from others to get through to that situation. And so there are women, there was one lady, she had died 7 times. And she had written a book about it. I actually met her in person. She came to New Vrindavan during one of our interfaith conferences. And she had written a book, how she died 7 different times. But if it's not your time, you won't go. If it is your time, you go. So that time is designated either by the Lord or, but for the materialists, by the external energy according to their collective karma. But one should not fear death. One should fear wasting time in this material world that takes away our lifespan in relationship to useless activities we may perform. And we should use our time and attention to become fully Krishna conscious, because that's success. If we have become fully Krishna conscious, then, because Krishna says, Taktva deham purna janmani naiti mameti sorjuna. You return to me in the spiritual world where life, there's no more death, there's no more birth, there's no such thing as disease or old age. Everything is chintamani, or pure spiritual energy, which vibrates unlimited happiness and complete transcendental knowledge. So that's the goal. Get out of this place in a way that allows us to again return to our original situation in the spiritual world. So devotee is fearful of Maya and not to waste time with activities that don't bring us closer to Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. So dear devotees, we can open up for question and answer. It's a very interesting topic today about fear. And and how we can dovetail that. So we can open up for Q&A. You can either ask your question by raising the hand or put your questions in the chat window if you are not able to do so, and I can ask the questions on your behalf. Also, a small request, if you can turn your cameras on, if possible, to make the sessions more lively, personal, and interactive. That would be helpful. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj, I have a question whilst the devotees contemplate. What is the root cause of a devotee's fear? I mean, a pure devotee's fear that they should not waste time, like you mentioned at the end. But for a practicing sadhaka who is a neophyte in his early stages, what are the main causes of fear for a devotee, and how to work about those fears?
Well, Prabhupada said one should develop a healthy fear of Maya. So he used the word healthy. So that fear is good because one should be fearful. Wow, I don't want to fall into Maya. So they develop this understanding to be very careful not to do anything which will bring them back to be trapped by the material energy. So there's that type of fear causes one to be careful not to be trapped again by Maya.
But then Maharaj, the devotees are also in constant state of anxiety because of, as you mentioned, attachments that we have.
Get rid of them. So what are you gonna do? Can't sell them and get something for them. Get rid of them. Of course, there's two ways which work simultaneously. One is don't act on your attachments, and two, continue to delve into the process of sadhana bhakti, which purifies your attachments and actually eliminates them and purifies them to become spiritualized and such that you use those things that you're attached to in a material way for the service of the Lord. There's no excuse. Well, I got attachments. Yeah, well, do something. You can't like, I got a disease. Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna you gonna forget about all of the remedies to cure the disease, or are you gonna do something about getting rid of the disease? So material life is analogous to a disease. It is. It's the disease of the soul.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, there was a question by Scarlett Mataji. I'm going to read it on her behalf. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada and to your holiness. Have I understood it right that because of what happened to Maharaj Parikshit, his son burned many snakes? May I humbly ask, did Janmai have the same beliefs, understanding as his father Parikshit did?
Well, Janmejaya, when after Taksaka bit Maharaj Parikshit, and then he burst into flames and he left his body. Then Janmejaya, his son, became very angry and started doing a yagya, which the yagya was so powerful that he was calling all the snakes in the world to fall into this yagya fire. And they were all dying in the fire of the yagya. It was who was it? Someone stopped him. Was it Parasaram? No. Someone came and told him that, you shouldn't be doing this. For one snake, you're killing all of the snakes. It's just like you see in a war sometimes. Or you might see in another situation. One person is an aggressor and he's a violator, and everybody that looks as of the same nationality becomes the target of hate by the victim. So in the same way, he became overwhelmed with anger, and he lost his intelligence and just started killing all of the snakes. I'm trying to think who was the one that stopped him. It's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. I can't remember who was. Some great soul told him to stop, and he did. He stopped.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sridevi Mataji, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, we are in the process of bhakti, and we understand that this is the only way actually to get free. But because we are impure, because we are still mixed devotees, we have so many attachments. And sometimes we think, I'm past this attachment. And then something happens to show you, no, you haven't really gotten over it. And you need to work on that. So is Krishna showing you by bringing that incident or that some arrangement that this is something which is still there in your consciousness and you need to root it out?
You should accept it that way, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the intelligent way to accept it. And then it's a message. Oh, I think I'm free from that. But just like there are anarthas, and then there's different stages by which the anarthas is removed. And then there's one that's called complete. The anartha is gone. But then there's a higher stage, absolute. The anartha appears to be gone, but under circumstances it comes back, and then you realize you're not free from it. So it hasn't reached the stage of absolute yet, although it's reached the stage of complete. Yeah, we see it in ourselves. We think we're so advanced, so free from all of these things, and all of a sudden situation puts us, and we start to look and think, oh no, how did I thought I was okay. But no.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was a good question.
Maharaj, I checked it out. It was Brihaspati who then stopped Janmejaya.
Brihaspati?
Yes, Maharaj.
Brihaspati. Brihaspati, let's see. Refresh my memory, Brihaspati.
Um, the son of Angira Muni, it is in Canto 12,
Oh, okay. Brihaspati.
is
Yeah.
because
Well,
Takshak took shelter of Indra, and Takshak was protected by Indra and was not coming to the sacrificial fire. He was not getting burned. So then the Brahmanas chanted a verse that along with Takshak, Indra should also be burned in the fire, and that's where Angira Muni, Brihaspati approached to stop.
yeah, poor Indra. Yeah, yogis are powerful, especially those who are devotees, and they have yoga powers. They're very powerful. even cause tribulations to the demigods.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any comments, realization? Any observations?
Sringa Leela, are you sick?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. Not actually sick, but I feel somewhat, I have headache or something like that, but I'm okay.
I hope you're all
Thank
right.
you for asking.
'Cause you're in Croatia, right?
No, I'm in Bulgaria right now, in Sofia.
You're in Bulgaria.
Yeah, otherwise I would meet you there yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah. Croatia, it's like really warm here now. Now you walk around with a t-shirt outside. It's really warm.
Yeah. Perfect for Sankirtan, Harinam, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Keep warm.
Yeah. Actually, Maharaj, when you just when you mentioned my name, so I was thinking, I saw that I have many different, of course, attachments, and some of them were like a burden in everyday life and especially in sadhana. And when I started praying intensely to Krishna and asking for help, then the help really came. And yeah, I think that prayers are very important.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's when you get to that point where the attachment just pulls you in. And you just, and if you pray to Krishna, all of a sudden you get the strength to resist. He helps his devotee.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Amritanam Mataji, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, as Nrsimha Leela Mataji asked, it really reminded me that um, many of the ladies in the community I see here that um, as Nrsimha Leela Mataji said that we should take the shelter of prayers. On the contrary, I've seen ladies who have spent their entire life accepting the situation in which they are. So, is this a kind of tapasya, or they should try to come over the what suffering they are in?
Well, you can still pray in any situation, even if you don't pray to get the situation relieved, you can pray to have the strength to and understanding on how to go through what you're going through. That, my dear Lord, this is difficult, but please don't let me forget you in this situation. Prayer is always appropriate in any situation. The whole Bhagavatam, all it is prayers, basically. So it's not that all prayers are about reversing the particular situation or having the outcome different. Prayers can be in many ways. Give me the, yeah. But just like there's this prayer by Saint Francis, I think it's Saint Francis. My dear Lord, let me give me the understanding of to change what I can change. Give me the understanding to not try to change what I can't change, and give me the understanding to understand the difference between the two. That's a paraphrase. It's a pretty choppy paraphrase, but the essence is there. So there's things in your life that you can change, and there's things you can't. And to know the difference between the two.
So basically, does that mean prayers for tolerance?
Tolerance, devotion, shelter.
Right.
Remember,
Thank. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Leela Mataji, you've raised your hands. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. I was just thinking that regarding my own attachments, I understood that I didn't have, or maybe even now, I don't have strong desire to get rid of them because I get some benefit from them, material benefit, and maybe I just need that intelligence to understand that this is a real burden in spiritual life. But just because I'm attached to them, I just live with them. I don't have that strong desire to remove those attachments. I think it's a matter of intelligence.
what is the difference between an attachment and a requirement in order to live in this world? So we have to eat, so that's a necessity. We have to rest the body, that's a necessity. But if you're attached to eating and it becomes a feature of your, because there's some people, their only happiness is eating. That's they make that their focus. That's an attachment. But to take nourishment in the form of food is required. That's not an attachment. And the idea is are you trying to enjoy what you need in this world, or you're trying to just take it and accept it as it is because it's required? And even if there is some enjoyment, it's not an attachment. It's just Krishna's way of just taking care of his devotee. That's all. You have to see what am I actually attached to that I don't really need? Because attachments are things you don't need. In other words, I like this one kind of food, and if I don't get it, I'm not going to eat. That's an attachment. Attachment to things going the way I want them to go. If they don't go the way I don't want them to go, then I get upset. That's an attachment. But if I'm attached to things going the way I want them to go, and they don't go in the way and I don't get upset, I simply adjust according to what's happening. That's not an attachment. But the more you're attached to Krishna, the more you see that everything you need in life is automatically comes by way of your attachment to Krishna, because Krishna is the supreme source of everything. That's why Sanatana Goswami gives the formula for surrender. What is surrender in devotional service? He says there's 6 things. And these will help us to understand what is attachment and what is not. The 6 things are to accept things favorable for our practice of devotional service. So you have to know what's favorable, what's unfavorable. And so that's why we hear from the scriptures, from the spiritual master, and we learn by our own experiences what's favorable. Then we have to know what's unfavorable, so we don't get trapped by the unnecessary and do things that waste time or things that take away from our spiritual progress. These are the first 2. There's 6 items. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th is Krishna is my only protector. Krishna is my only maintainer. Krishna is my only provider. That's all. Everybody else who plays the role of protector, maintainer, provider in my life is simply an instrument that's being used by Krishna to give me these things. That's all. Just like some, if Krishna apparently takes away your material maintainer, does that mean you're not going to be maintained? If Krishna wants you to be maintained and you're surrendered to him, he'll arrange for you to get, to maintained accordingly. He says that if you surrender to me, I'll maintain you, I protect you, I provide whatever you need. And he does it through the material energy. So other people play that role of these 3 features. But they are simply instruments of Krishna. That's why Prabhupada would say, no one can do any good for anyone. Nobody can do any good for anyone unless Krishna allows it to happen. We can't see the hand behind how things are happening, but that hand is the hand of the Supreme Lord for the devotees. And it's the hand of the external energy for the non-devotees. That's it. Krishna is there. He's there for the devotee all the time, protecting, maintaining, providing. But if we're not surrendered, then we have to somehow make up the difference by our own lack of surrender. So when we're surrendered to Krishna, then all of these things manifest completely and perfectly. And the last one is dainya. Dainya means humility. A devotee is always cultivating the mood of humility. That means they're always dependent on the Lord for everything. And they like to serve the Lord. So they're always humble. They're practicing humility. Humility is something that it doesn't just come and go. It's something that develops, and it continues to develop as one practices devotional service.
Thank you, Maharaj. Any is that okay, Mataji? Does it answer your question?
I was talking to everybody, not just her.
Just confirming with Mataji. Thank you.
He presented the question, but the question is a question that anyone could have asked.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, we're all asked that question. Okay, so yeah, you're in charge.
So if there's no further questions, Maharaj, Sridevi Mataji has a question we can take. Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, just one last question. To reach this point of complete fearlessness means one has completely gotten above the bodily concept of life and is no longer thinking of anything except serving the Lord in complete purity. That's the highest. So to reach that point where one is completely above the bodily concept of life and completely absorbed in service to the Lord means one has to keep practicing to reach that level of purity. Is that correct?
Well, it's a process. It's not like you stop at any point in your devotional service and you reach something. Devotional service is unlimited. The qualities in devotional service are unlimited. The activities in devotional service are unlimited. The realizations in devotional service are unlimited. You don't, it's not like you get somewhere and you attain a certain level and then you stop. No, I can't believe you asked that question.
What to do, Guru Maharaj? Still struggling neophyte, what to do?
I think that wasn't you asking it, it was somebody else. You should, as a preacher, you should know that devotional service doesn't stop and never stops. Once you begin it, it continues eternally. Even if you fall away from it and you stop it, in your next life, you may also get a chance to pick it up again.
Hey, thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, if you're okay, we are top the hour. If you're okay, we can conclude the class for today.
You're in charge. I have nothing to say.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your class today. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha samaveta bhakta vrinda ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much for today's class.
Thank you, Guru
Thank
Maharaj.
you.